What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Stand Up Guys Podcast, episode 47. I'm your host, incomparable Zach Jones, and I'm joined, as always, by, the Dash to my Jack, Lester Jones.
Dash is pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I'm not suave enough. I feel like I'm more like the bad guy in the first film.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, that kid. Yeah.
I think his name was Buddy.
Buddy, yeah.
They gave him like a condescending name.
And, of course, we got the ninth wonder, Chocolate Thunder. Eating that poon, never stopping too soon. The clit licking, never quitting. Having fun making pussies, Ron the phenomenal one. A.J. Singh.
Yay! Thank you, everyone.
Now, speaking of making pussies run, a lot of people probably think we should have gave up on this show by now. But just like Batman, we refuse to go down.
He didn't refuse. DC was like, "You are not going down, Batman."
Yeah. So this was a story this week where so apparently it was the Harley Quinn animated show, right? Like they're making, I think, season 3, and apparently they wanted to put some gag in where Batman was going to be going down on Catwoman, but DC pushed back and said no. Is that what the story was?
Yeah, they said that wasn't going to happen. And then Zack Snyder released a photo on Twitter of somebody, I
saw that
fan art or something.
He said it was canon. Pretty good fan art. I thought it was made for the show.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
I don't know where it came from.
I'm guessing now there's a bunch of deviant art of Batman going down on Catwoman.
Probably, man.
Oh, there's probably been God knows what. Poison Ivy. I don't know what people have probably done with her imagery.
Yeah, you got the whole Rule 34. I'm sure it's out there.
Oh yeah, it's got to be. What do you guys think about that, though? Do you think? Because it's a comedy show. Yeah. They're already making fun of villains and stuff. As long as the show's that tone, is it a big deal to make a joke like that? Really?
I don't think so at all. I thought it fit the tone perfectly.
Yeah, you can kind of write off stuff that's happening in other universes and stuff. So I don't know, but they want it to be a kid-safe character.
But it's not a kid's show, I feel like.
Well, that's not a kid's show. That's an R-rated show.
Yeah.
But Batman himself.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they don't want to taint him.
So do you think they would let a lesser villain be a pussy eater, a Plastic Man joke or something?
Yeah, if it was the Joker, the Croc or something, they'd probably be like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing, though. We give it such a negative context, but, it's not a bad thing. I don't know.
I'd just like to say I'm firmly against cuddling.
But totally in favor of anal language.
I'm divorced, by the way.
So that's what happened.
Oh, God. I started watching Harley Quinn just now, recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I watched, because of my back pain, I couldn't get up, and I was like, all right, movie time. And, so just for the viewers at home, I tweaked my back, and I couldn't move for a while, and I started watching Shazam, I watched Birds of Prey, and I watched, of course, the new Loki, and I watched the Harley Quinn animated series. So I really got into DC.
But the story you were saying about you putting your back out, to set the scene, you were in the bottom level of a townhouse where there's no toilet.
Yeah, yeah.
And so your only option was to crawl all the way to the top.
Military crawl through the mud, basically, up the stairs. And there's 2 flights of stairs. And my family was just like, "Oh God, do it, man, try." Because I couldn't.
We're not gonna be able to help you.
They couldn't help me. I'm big, and plus, it's a narrow stairway, and they might make it worse. So, oh my gosh, I just took breaks in between. I would just lay there.
Bring me some food.
It was nuts. And every time I'd get into bed, if I ever tried to stand up, I would just fall into bed straight and just try to preserve my back as much as possible.
I just picture your mom holding you like Velma holds Shaggy, trying to eat up the
Oh my god, it was so embarrassing. I had to sleep in her bed. She slept like next to me to make sure nothing bad. Like if you need water or anything,
didn't die in your sleep.
Yeah.
So did you make like a sudden move for it to go out, or did it just like happen?
It just happened. Like I didn't notice a sudden movement. I was doing DoorDash, and like you pick up a meal and you like put it down in front of the doorway, and like in between like putting it down on the doorway and coming back to my car, I must have tweaked it putting it down because like coming back to my car was painful. I had to like rest on my knees. My back was just shooting pains. I was like, oh man, and it's happened before. This whole back thing has happened like maybe a year ago. So I had an issue with this, and it lasted a lot longer that time. So I mean, I think it's just being overweight, man. Being overweight and then like quickly moving your back, it can like do that real quick.
A lot of torque or something.
So folks, watch out! Don't gain this kind of weight.
Back stuff sucks balls.
Yeah.
I will say, in addition to that, like we've all three of us been sick this week. So like, if you hear any coughs or like sniffles, just be aware that that's probably coming.
Yeah, I've got a cough drop in. I'm trying not to like click it in my teeth or anything, but yeah, I've been coughing a lot.
You watch anything this week or have any stories?
What's that? I watched that season of Sweet Tooth that came out. That's pretty good.
Oh, I haven't watched it, but it looks good. Yeah, I've heard about it even.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. Can you give us a little overview?
So basically, at some point in time, there's like a virus that comes into the world, and like simultaneously, like people start having like these hybrid children that are part human, part animal, and there's like all different species and stuff, and everyone's kind of confused. No one knows what's going on. Society collapses, and like I guess a bunch of people are dead and whatever. But it focuses around this one hybrid child, and it seems like he's probably like the first. So, and he's also maybe kind of like a Jesus figure or something. It's kind of interesting. It's about his story. So,
but you enjoyed it overall.
Yeah, I mean, I remember liking the comic. I don't remember a ton from the comic, but they've definitely taken some liberties there and made it something a little different. But it's still pretty good.
Does it seem like something that's going to be a continuing series with another season?
There'll definitely be another season.
Okay. Oh, okay.
No, they're getting high ratings. They're definitely not done with that story. So
it's good to see Netflix have a season 2 for a good show.
Yeah, I mean, they're hit and miss sometimes. So
yeah, I saw that I think they canceled the Umbrella Academy too, which kind of sucks because I watched that show and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I gotta watch the last season of it. But did they cancel it like without any resolution, or did they actually get to like a conclusion in that show?
God, it's been a while since I watched. I think they kind of, reached a conclusion for that season. I think they kind of left it open to where more stuff could happen,
Okay.
but. I could be wrong because it has been a while since I watched it, but I remember I enjoyed it. So
I gotta talk about this. You guys watched Birds of Prey, right?
Yeah, we watched it in theater.
We watched that.
I
That
just
was like the
just
last
the one
thing
time.
we watched in theaters.
Yeah,
Well, I don't hate that movie. It was a fun movie. It's just that it was ridiculous.
yeah. I didn't like it. I found it just a little bit too cartoony myself.
Yeah, it was cartoony. Like when she walks in that police station with that fake gun and all the cops don't kill her immediately, I was like, no way. And she goes back there and frees all the... And they kept the little girl prisoner with all these grown men. I was like, no, man, come on.
Wasn't there also some like big fight scenes where like... Did everybody have like guns and stuff and she's just running around hitting people with the hammers or something?
Yeah, like at the end.
Yeah.
And Rosie Perez, who's already shown to be drunk and can't fight, fights off like all these people. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was definitely a little ridiculous. It makes sense.
And also just like, so this is in the same universe where she was Harley Quinn in like the Suicide Squad movie, which wasn't good either, obviously. But that movie, like... just like the actions and stuff seemed a lot more like it was in a much more realistic world than Birds of Prey, which was just totally Looney Tunes by the end of it, And I did not care for that.
Yeah, you definitely had to suspend your belief for for Harley Quinn. But I mean, the girl Margot Robbie, what's her name? Margot.
Yeah, Margot Robbie.
She's good. I like
She's
her.
good. Yeah, I just don't like anything they did with it. Really.
But I'd like to see her in future, Harley Quinn stuff. I hope she sticks around. The Joker, I didn't see any of the previous movies with like Suicide Squad, so I don't know if they showed like her previous relationship with Joker or who it's going to be in the future.
They did a little bit in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I didn't watch those.
But I mean,
was that the Jared Leto?
Yeah, but I mean, his overall screen time, I think, in that movie, someone said is like, less than 5 minutes or something. He's
a blip.
So yeah, it's.
But they're making something with him in the future. Or are they going with Robert Pattinson or Ben Affleck? How are they going with Batman?
Well, I think, and I hope so.
Not Robert Pattinson. Sorry.
I think the Robert Pattinson Batman movie is supposed to be like not shared universe, like in its own, continuity, which I hope is true. Yeah. But there's always a chance if that movie's really successful, they'll go, oh well, let's make him the new Batman and combine. That kind of shit does happen. I hope that doesn't though. Yeah, because man, DC. Like, I imagine eventually they'll get their shit together and start having more hits than misses, but...
I don't know, man, because Snyder himself said that DC's built different from Marvel. They're like, we're not doing all that continuity stuff. Like, ours is all about, like, having separate things and, like, having your own, like, one-off stories about it, whereas Marvel's all about, like, integrating this whole cinematic universe.
Well... I think they just need to pick a lane. Like if they want to just do like each movie containing its own universe, like I'm fine with that. That's the way they always did it before the MCU was a thing. But if they actually want to do the shared universe thing, like they tried to do, then they need to reorganize and be more like Marvel. I think.
I saw I saw Shazam, which was corny a lot of the time, but it was an okay movie.
Yeah, I saw that one too. It's fine.
Yeah, they do like kind of make the whole, he's part of that universe where there's a Batman, Superman, and all that, and then Superman even shows up at the end.
Right.
So I'm not sure, but it seems like they're maybe building towards that. I don't know if Shazam's ever going to be included in the future projects where Batman and Superman are doing their own thing, but. I mean, they mentioned Black Adam at the beginning of the movie, didn't they, in Shazam? Where he's like, we gave another guy these powers to be our champion, but he ended up getting revenge on people, and not using...
I mean, I only saw it once, but that wouldn't surprise me because, like, Black Adam and Shazam are kind of in the same comic, and, like, that same kind of mythology. So it wouldn't surprise me if they did mention him in that. But, yeah, I don't... Like, DC, they keep announcing, like, new projects, but, I feel like they either need to put an end to, like, their shared world continuity, or they need to, like, just say, hey, there's a multiverse. We're putting an end to these movies you didn't like, but maybe we'll carry over people like Gal Gadot's people you do like into a new continuity. Yeah. Because it sounds like with this Flash movie that they're making, that they are going to introduce the multiverse, and they're going to have, Michael Keaton as Batman, in it. So, they have the storytelling potential with that to kind of wipe the slate clean if they wanted to. But I don't know if that's what they're going to do or not.
Too bad Adam West is gone.
I know.
90-year-old Batman.
It actually would be. It would be cool to have an Adam West.
He'd be all
cameo.
slow and everything.
You just have a quick cameo of him
where he dies.
He like shoots the back grapple or whatever. That's it. You don't see anything.
I guess with the face technology, they could splice him in probably.
Yeah, I mean, they did that with Princess Leia, right?
Yeah, they had to put her in, right?
Mm-hmm. Star Wars.
Well, I mean, I think they probably did do that a little bit, but I know they had shot like a lot of footage for the second to last movie that they never used. So like some of that they were able to repurpose for the last movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm guessing in parts of it they probably did have to do that. Mm-hmm. And then of course, like at the end of what was it, Rogue One. They had to make like a computerized version of her because she was like younger.
Yeah, with the DC realm, like I'm thinking like if they can just get like the whole team like situated, like the Justice League, you know, they're slowly trying to add people to it and get everybody together. If they can like really ramp up towards like a matchup with Darkseid, that would be. I mean, look, I'm in for that. You know, you take my money, I'll watch that for sure.
I mean, if they actually want to do an MCU thing and have a shared world, here's what I would do. If he was on board for it, I would actually have Zack Snyder come back and say, hey, we're making the Snyder Cut canon. Now you're going to finish this universe with, you know, Justice League Part 2, basically, with Darkseid's story. And you basically just, in that movie, you introduce, there's a multiverse, and, like, at the end of that movie, that universe is basically done away with. We're in a new one. Any of the actors that are willing to come over that people like Gal Gadot can come over, but maybe since, you know, Ben Affleck's not coming back, you can be like, oh, but now this guy is Batman in this universe. You know, you could do something like that and wipe the slate clean, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I don't know. Let's see, what have I been watching? Just more of The Expanse. I finished season 4.
Dang, good for you. How many episodes are there in each season?
So, like, the first 2 or 3 seasons, I think there's like 13 or 14 episodes a season. Okay. And then the last 2, there's 10 episodes.
Okay.
But I do notice this. It's not like a one-for-one comparison because it is very different. But I do think the show kind of has Game of Thrones elements. Because, like, you have these competing, like, factions. You got Earth, Mars, and then the Belter group. Like, and then you have, like, all these, like, just like Game of Thrones, like a really large cast and like, you know, all these people like caught in the middle. And then you kind of even have like this kind of alien threat that could be seen as like that could have the potential to destroy everybody, kind of like the White Walkers, you know? So like, again, it's not like a one for one, but I just kind of notice like it has some of those elements, I guess.
But what came out first? Expanse or Game of Thrones?
I think, well, show-wise, Game of Thrones. I know The Expanse is based on some novels, but I mean, the Game of Thrones novels came out forever ago, right?
Well, some of them.
Well, yeah, like the first one. I don't know when the guy that wrote The Expanse started
They'll
writing.
end forever from now.
I'm guessing Game of Thrones came first.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
It must cost a fortune to make that show then, to have all those actors and stuff. The Expanse?
I don't know, because like the first 3 seasons were done by the Sci-Fi Channel, so I wouldn't think that they would have like a crazy budget. And then I think they like canceled it, but then it was luckily picked up by Amazon for these latest 2 seasons. But it looks good. Man, I will say, like on this new OLED TV I have, like anytime there's a scene in space, like either like an establishing shot of like a, you know, one of the spaceships going through space, or sometimes they have like battles in space, it looks really fucking cool.
Yeah, because OLED TVs have like the deepest blacks, I heard.
Yeah, that could be it.
You like those deep blacks?
You're going to want those deep blacks.
Oh, man.
The deeper, the better. All right, well, we've been talking way too long about television, so should we get into the meat of this show? And for people who maybe haven't watched, basically what we try to do is find either some funny or like interesting, kind of off-kilter stories from the week and talk about them. So as tradition dictates, AJ, we'll have you go first.
All right. Necrophiliac gets pregnant. Not a true story. I really wanted that to be true. But, yeah, it's, you know, I knew right away when I first heard it, I was like, how does a corpse do that? Like, how does it? But, yeah, okay, so this a woman, let's see, that was a fake story. So I started researching necrophiliacs. Like, just stories or something.
Like, I don't think I've ever heard of a female.
Yeah.
But I think I have heard of, like, corpses having boners, maybe.
I mean, they get rigid, right? Like
Maybe, yeah, you just wait till they...
Rigor mortis sets in. You get that stiffy, I guess.
And this poor woman, I don't know if she actually is a necrophiliac, but her picture comes up every time you search necrophiliac articles.
Somebody did her dirty.
Yeah, so, okay, let me see. Woman pregnant by sperm from corpse. No, that didn't happen. Sperm taken from body of a dead man was used to impregnate his widow. So I looked at that was a different story. So a guy in 1998 who died in a car accident in his 30s, his wife said, hey, get his sperm out of his body. Like, I guess you can just tell them that.
Juice of those lemons.
Yeah. I mean,
got one of the little things.
the hospital's like, we're trying to save this guy's life. And she's like, just get his sperm. You know, they're like, okay, we'll just take a shot of sperm from him.
I want that to be a checkbox on the driver's license.
And so he had kids. She got pregnant. And then there's another story, just looking into this stuff. And a woman who was already pregnant got pregnant 3 weeks later after having sex again with her husband. So she had twins from 3 weeks apart. They weren't identical, of course.
Okay, so she had like two sets, but they started at different times?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Did she give birth to him at the same time?
One,
Yeah.
one set was twins?
No, it was just one set of twins. So like
Oh, okay.
one baby
One
was
was
already in
just
there,
older.
and they like did the ultrasound, and there was just one baby. And then 3 weeks later, there's another ultrasound, and found one really recent one that wasn't developed.
Oh,
So yeah,
Weird, yeah, because I thought women weren't supposed to be able to get pregnant.
there are
once
mechanisms
Yeah.
in place.
Yeah.
You had to stop that apparently, but
yeah.
one made it through the
one.
gates, I guess.
I guess.
And let's see.
You do hear those like weird stories once in a while where like a woman has like different colored babies.
Yeah, like a black
yeah.
sister and a white sister.
yeah, or something.
Yeah, that is so strange to me. And it's not even like one's albino. It's just they're
Yeah, it's like two eggs and two different dads. Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, basically like a woman that's like sleeping with multiple guys, right?
Yeah,
And like,
but it's, for whatever reason, like sometimes women have multiple eggs, I think.
yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a weird birth, like a Neapolitan.
Some white dude, he's got like a Mexican kid and a black kid. It's like neither of them are in.
The husband's just looking for like the white one. All right, so that's enough of the necrophilia topics. Here's a long one, but I thought this was interesting. Former CIA officials details, former CIA officer details Havana syndrome. He says he suffered in Moscow as an act of war. A retired CIA officer who says he has been a victim of so-called Havana syndrome calls the mysterious and debilitating neurological symptoms an act of war against U.S. officials. Mark Polyamorous ran clandestine operations across Europe and Asia for the Central Intelligence Agency. So when he traveled to Moscow in 2017, the watching eyes of Russian intelligence did not faze him. Even in my hotel room, I'd go to the gym, and a guy in a black trench coat comes down and, checks on me down there. He told CBS News senior investigative reporter Catherine Herridge, not unexpected. Part of the job. Then, in his hotel room, the trip took a dangerous turn. I woke up in the middle of the night because I had this incredible case of vertigo. It almost felt as if I was on some kind of carnival ride. I'll tell you, Catherine, I had spent years in the war zones of Iraq, Afghanistan. I put my life on the line. This was the most terrifying experience of my life. I had no control. Polyamorous said he experienced pressure in his head, a loss of balance, and ringing in his ears. Back in the U.S., Polyamorous, I can't say his name, I'm just going to call him Polly, reported to the CIA medical office, is this consistent with Havana syndrome? And their answer was no. Havana syndrome is the name given to a mysterious neurological condition first reported by State Department personnel in Cuba 5 years ago who experienced a similar set of symptoms. There have been at least 130 suspected cases. CBS News has learned that suspected cases are spread across at least 6 countries and among Defense Department employees, often occurring near active Russian operations. I've had a headache for 3 years, he said. I feel like a vice clamp down. I feel like there's a vice clamp down here, and there's pressure that comes over the top of my head. He said it took 3 years to get help at Walter Reed Military Hospital. They diagnosed me with a traumatic brain injury. It's on paper. I have it. CIA colleague who was also affected painted a picture called the gunshot during the Walter Reed art therapy sessions. This is the invisible wound that no one believed us for a long time. The National Academies of Sciences recently found the most plausible explanation was pulsed radio frequency energy. There are no public images of the alleged device. A knowledgeable source told CBS News that this technology behind a Russian-made microwave generator from the 90s is likely similar to today's smaller mobile units. CBS News has also learned that the U.S. government is fast-tracking sensor technology to detect these mysterious energy events. In recent months, 2 suspected cases were reported near the White House. This is clearly an escalation, said Republican Senator Susan Collins, who authored legislation that gets victims medical and financial support. On the Senate floor, Collins said this bill will provide much-needed assistance to employees of the intelligence community, the State Department, and other federal agencies in a moment of rare bipartisanship. And they're thinking that Russia is responsible for this. I mean, I've heard of weapons where, like, I think on 1,000 Ways to Die, I saw this, like, where, I guess a U.S. military asset, like, he used, like, a machine that can, like, melt your brain or something. And, like, he killed a guy on stage who was, like, suspected, like, terrorist or something. And this was, like, a long time ago.
I mean, I guess you could probably make lasers out of some invisible beam of something and just fuck something up. I don't know.
I mean, what's stopping them from using this on anybody? They're targeting these intelligence officials, but
they make it sound like it's targeted on intelligence. I mean, Russia likes those kind of things, and like poisons and stuff.
Yeah, they're all about that subterfuge and into that.
We'll leave it to the Russians.
Sneaky.
Well, it's beeping. That's not the camera, is it?
Oh, I didn't hear it. Hopefully not.
Yeah, something's beeping. I don't know.
Well, should we go to Manifesto round 1?
Okay. An AI built to identify pastries recognizes cancer with 99% accuracy.
I actually saw this article.
Yeah, so I mean, recognizing pictures is pretty common in AI these days, but this Japanese company had made this AI to identify what type of pastries things are, and it was some kind of like grocery thing where it could identify them, and if they were older or whatever, change the prices, or so it was this whole thing. But a doctor saw their advertisement and was like, saw the pictures of the pastries, and he's like, those look kind of like a lot like cancer cells. And so he called them and talked about developing it, and so they implemented a version they're using to screen cancer cells, and it's 99% accurate. So surprisingly accurate.
It's amazing what something for one use can...
Yeah, it just pops in for something else.
Yeah. Accidental discoveries.
You ever see those stories, too, about, like, dogs that smell cancer on, like, their owners?
I've heard of dogs and cats, yeah. It's like, apparently they smell different things.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah. I mean, when they talk about... They have, like, I think bloodhounds have, like, 1,000 times, maybe more, better smell than us. I mean, that's incredible.
Well, even like in COVID just recently, weren't they saying like they had dogs trained that were more accurate than like the testing?
Oh.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it does seem like I saw something like that. So.
All right. So from...
that would actually be like a nice trip to the doctor. Just go.
Oh, yeah.
You pet the dogs. If they sit down, you're like, oh, shit. I got Parkinson's. See you next week.
Well, at least I got this cute dog to pet while I find out the bad news.
Kind of eases the... His bedside manner was impeccable.
Put a little dog translator. Ruff, ruff. Cancer,
you have cancer. Squirrel.
All right. Well, from that, I found this article about the eight of the weirdest jobs in his history. So I thought I'd go through these and see what you guys think.
I wonder how many of them I've done in my life.
If guy who travels down poop chute of Kings isn't on there, then I'm surprised.
There's one similar to that.
Okay.
It's like a chamber pot boy.
And there's one similar to that. The first one is called nomenclator. Before we had smartphones and PDAs to remind us of people's names, we had nomenclators. In ancient Greece and Rome, nomenclators were slaves whose entire job was to remember the names and merits of the people their masters met. The list of people to remember could include business partners, political donors, friends of friends, and any other socially important people. When your master got high enough in society, the number of people you had to remember could number in the dozens. There are actually still nomenclators today, but their job is entirely different. These days, they come up with new terms for dictionaries and specialist glossaries. So this wouldn't be like a terrible job. You're just like, oh, hey, King, that's that Greg guy that laughs at his own fucking terrible jokes. Be like, oh, that's Sheila, but she's a real Nancy, if you know what I mean.
But I would be terrible. I would be terrible because I can't recognize faces and names together. I'll just be like, that's Joe, I guess.
What was his name? I have a friend in our hometown, and like he works at a restaurant. I swear to God, he knows every single person in the entire town. Like, if he sees somebody he doesn't know, he goes up and introduces himself. And then he knows their name.
Dang.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, but he does remind me of, like, a real-life SpongeBob. Because, yeah, he works at the fast food restaurant. And, yeah, he's just, like, really happy. And he, like, knows everybody by name.
Doesn't drive a car.
Yeah.
Hey, this sounds like a nice guy, man.
Okay, number 2, the knocker-upper. It's not what you think. Unlike modern American slang would have you believe, you didn't call a knocker-upper when you needed to have another kid. A knocker-upper is basically a human alarm clock. There was a time when alarm clocks didn't exist, but people still had to wake up early for appointments. To make sure you didn't sleep in, you'd pay a person to show up at your house at the crack of dawn and bang on your bedroom window until you woke up. But how did the knocker-uppers wake up for their job? Was there an endless loop of people going around and waking each other up? No, actually, according to author Richard Jones, knocker-uppers were often older people who were night owls by nature. If they were going to be up anyway, might as well make a bit of extra cash on the side. The profession survived in rural areas of the UK until the 1970s. Wow. By then, everyone just started using an alarm clock. Yeah, I didn't know like when the alarm clock came into fashion, but I would have thought earlier than that.
Yeah, I would have thought sooner. TVs came out before alarm clocks?
Okay, AJ, this might be kind of what you're talking about. The pharaoh's anus blower. In ancient Egypt, the pharaoh was both a king and a god. But when a living god could get indigestion, and that's when the royal anus blower was called. The anus blower was basically a primitive proctologist. Whatever butt-related problems the pharaoh had, the anus blower would take care of it. But their most important task came about when the pharaoh had eaten more than he could digest. That's when the anus blower would grab a long golden tube, fill it with hot water, and blow it up the pharaoh's divine butthole. That's what it sounds like, an enema administered by mouth. At least there was a tube between the blower's lip and the royal anus. So how would you like that job? Shove a tube up a guy's ass and blow water.
Gosh, the things people did. And, like, how does that help?
I mean, it would give you, like, enema, I guess. You get the water up there, and then it would shake things loose.
My gosh.
We've all had the acid poops, man.
The king's like, and if that doesn't get the job, you're going to have to put fingers in.
What was it called again?
The anus blower.
The anus whisperer. Oh, anus whisperer. I've had a bout of Taco Bell.
I don't think you'd need the anus blower after Taco Bell. In fact, Taco Bell's called the anus blower. Yeah, can you just blow on my ass to cool it down? Next is the resurrectionist. The resurrectionist job didn't include bringing people back to life, but they sure did empty their graves. A resurrectionist would dig up freshly buried corpses and sell them to people practicing this newfangled thing called medical science. Resurrectionists were common in the 18th and 19th century England. The common people understandably didn't care much for them, though. They were pretty much just glorified grave robbers. Eventually, the profession became such a nuisance that the English government allowed doctors free access to corpses. But there was a catch. The bodies had to come from poor people who died in workhouse accidents. Of course. Next, the funeral clown. In 4th century Rome, people must have felt that funerals were sometimes got a bit too somber. We're saying that because the profession of a funeral clown existed. The harlequin would wear a mask of the dead person's face, okay, and cavort about the funeral procession. He'd mock the recently deceased with the goal of appeasing the departed spirit and to cheer up the living mourners. Because what's going to cheer you up?
Oh, this is a tough crowd.
What's going to cheer you up more than someone making fun of the person you love that just died? Because having someone wear your grandpa's face and tell you how much he sucks will surely cheer you up at this funeral, right? At least the Romans seem to think so, because funeral clowns have made something of a comeback. You could once more hire a funeral clown to ridicule your dearly departed relatives and friends. I kind of want to be a funeral clown.
Get my ass kicked, I feel.
Now, this was the one, Lester, you referenced, the necessary woman. The necessary woman was a polite name for a job that was gross but well necessary. Before the days of indoor toilets, people would do their business in chamber pots. The inglorious task of emptying them fell upon these ladies. And unsavory as the job description might be, it came with good benefits. You usually got to stay in the mansion or castle of the lord or lady you served, and the pay was very competitive for the time. You kind of expect that, though, because why else would anyone take the job? The popularity of the flush toilet eventually sent the profession of the necessary woman down the drain. This next one sounds like a fun job. Yeah. Orgy planner. Let's go back to ancient Rome one more time. The Romans sure loved their orgies, and while these get-togethers weren't actually as debauched as popular culture would tell you, they were a big deal and could last up to 12 hours. And like with any party, someone needs to plan it. Orgy planners were experts in making the necessary arrangements so that orgy goers could enjoy their decadent luxury to its fullest. The planner would hire the entertainment, musicians, cooks, and prostitutes. They'd plan the menu, draft the seating arrangements based on the host's wishes, and arrange accommodations for guests. Really, it's not that different from a modern party planner, just for orgies. So that one's not terrible, I guess.
Yeah. That's not a 7th worst job.
Well, technically these are weirdest jobs. Oh. Most of them suck.
Yeah.
And then number 8, the final one, groom of the stool. The title of groom of the stool sounds fancy, but the job wasn't quite as glorious as the name would imply. In spirit, the groom was an advisor to the medieval English king, but what he actually did was entertain the king while he was taking a shit. The groom would entertain the king as he emptied his royal bowels. He'd chat with the king, listen to his worries, and often help insights if he had any. And offer helpful insights. With time, though, the position grew more and more powerful. By the end of the medieval period, the groom of the stool was a trusted advisor on economic and domestic policy. Imagine if the UK finance minister accompanied the queen to the can. That's basically what it was.
How much time were they spending in the toilet? They had
That's what I was wondering. He was having indigestion too.
I've got important things. I need to multitask.
He's like, I don't have an anus blower, so this is going to take some time. Entertain me. I don't have a phone yet.
You guys doing these little TikToks in there? Not funny.
How'd you like that job, though? You're like trying to entertain this guy, and he's taking a real rant and shit.
You can't even tell him that it stinks or anything. Oh.
You see,
get checked out.
Did you see that cricket game on Tuesday? That was pretty good, right?
What kind of person are you? You want another person in the room that you're taking a shit in.
That's a power play.
Yeah.
I mean, which of these jobs would you most want and least want? So definitely anus blower would be my least desirable.
I'd like to be orgy planner.
Yeah, orgy planner would probably be best, right?
Yeah.
Who ordered all this sausage?
Who ordered the deepest blacks? All right, that was my topic. AJ, I'll send it back to you.
All right. Veteran lobster diver Michael Packard was hoping to make a catch on Friday near Provincetown on Cape Cod.
Is this the whale story?
Yeah.
Damn it.
But he says he almost ended up on the menu for a medium-sized humpback whale. All of a sudden, I just felt this huge bump, and everything went dark, he said, and I could sense I was moving. I thought to myself, okay, this is it. This I'm going to die. For 30 terrifying seconds, Packard says he was trapped in the whale's mouth. Then all of a sudden, he went up to the surface and just erupted and started shaking his head. And I got thrown out of the air and landed in the water, and I was free. Dr. Ian Kerr, a marine biologist at the Ocean Alliance who has been studying whales in Cape Cod for more than a decade, said the whale does not want human dessert. I've been in this business for 30 years, and this is the second time I've heard of it happening. This area down by Provincetown is a highly productive area, which is why the fishermen are there. The lobstermen are there. It's why the whales are there. Basically, he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Kerr said humpbacks, which can grow anywhere from 25 to 40 tons, are gentle giants that pose no threat to humans. Kerr, however, said Packard is very lucky. It could have been a nasty situation where I am sure the whale was almost as freaked out as Michael was. He's now bruised and battered, but happy to live and tell the tale.
Yeah. Crazy.
I'd be horrified.
Can you imagine a humpback whale sneaking up on you?
Yeah, right. It must have just like engulfed him and like opened up its mouth while he was swimming.
Yeah, I don't know about humpbacks. I've heard like a lot of like whales. They don't have like a big enough throat to even swallow a person, even though.
Yeah, because like I know blue whales have like baleen or something that like stops big things from getting in their mouth.
Right, they just collect the.
Yeah. But
the article I had about it, because I was going to do that same article, said that back in September 2019, Rainer Schimpf, 51, was photographing a mass of sardines off South Africa's coast when he was also swallowed whole by a whale, only to be spit out seconds later. So it's not even the first time it's happened.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, I've seen videos where like someone's like reeling in a shark and another fish comes up and like eats the whole shark. And I'm like, well, if it can eat that shark, it could eat your ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm horrified with the ocean.
Yeah, there's some shit in the ocean.
I mean, that's a good story, though, if you're swallowed by a whale and spit out.
Yeah, whales don't want to eat us, but I mean, I feel like they could. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like orcas have killed a couple people.
Oh, really?
Mostly in like domestic situations.
That's why they call them killer whales.
Yeah, in the wild, an orca, if they usually think like a human. If they attack it, it looks like a dolphin or something.
That might be why. Because we see orcas are a type of dolphin, but yeah, humans and dolphins, like we have some kind of connection.
All right, are we ready for the manifesto round 2?
Okay. Child accidentally given kilo of cocaine after former Royal Marines imported it in Lego boxes. So these guys, like, they shipped this cocaine, and it sounded like maybe some different addresses or whatever. So the mail puts it on the guy's porch or whatever, and the neighbor takes it, and then, like, down the road, they give it to, like, one of their relatives' kids for their birthday.
Oh,
and so this kid, he opens up this Lego box, and there's a kilo of cocaine in it.
To be fair, that kid has never put together more Lego sets in such a fast amount of time.
But
kid loves Legos now.
But yeah, I mean, what a story! It's like you're smuggling it, you're sending it, your neighbor like
steals it,
takes it off your porch. That's terrible luck.
And that's how you get caught, right? He got caught then.
Yeah, there was like a few guys in it that got arrested and went to jail.
Jeez.
Said 1.8 million pounds of cocaine total, but that was one box out of like a number of boxes. But.
Yeah, I heard about like recently there was like a haul of $194 million worth of cocaine. I forgot where it was, but I mean, jeez.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. If I had that much cocaine, it wouldn't be worth anything, though, because I wouldn't know how to sell it.
Yeah. You'd just be like, like the second you try to start pawning it, the mafia would show up on your door and kill you.
Exactly. Anybody finds out you have more than a gram and you don't have anything to stop them from taking it from you.
What would you guys, like, let's say you're in the woods and you notice this, like, abandoned... gym bag or something, and you're like, oh, let's see what's in there. And you open it up, and it's obviously like, cocaine or heroin or something. Something that if you could sell it, it would be worth millions of dollars. Would you A, turn it into the authorities. B, just leave it there and go about your business. Or C, would you actually try to see if you could sell it and get money out of it?
I wouldn't try to sell it.
God, it'd be tempting. Like, I'd at least like take it home, put it in the closet, and like think about it and be like, how can I Heisenberg this shit?
See, I wouldn't take it home and put it in the closet because then somehow the cops are going to come and find it, and you're going to be in federal pound me in the ass prison.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think I'd just leave it there and walk past it.
That's probably what I'd do too.
I'm just scared that it'd be like no Country for Old Men and there's like a tracker in it or something.
Yeah. And I'd be afraid. I'd almost be afraid to turn it in the cops too, because then they'd probably be suspicious. Like, how do you know it was here, or something?
Or the cops. Like, I'd be nervous because, like, what if they were crooked?
Yeah, that
and then
too.
they were like, well, he's the only one who knows about this. You know, then boom.
Yeah. I think I would just leave it there. Be like, well, somebody left it there. They can come back for it.
Yeah, I'm not dying for this.
Well, oddly enough, you mentioned just like a minute ago that like dolphins and people kind of have this connection. And you might be right. Dolphins. Oh, this website just crashed on me. Why?
Yeah, dolphins, like, they like save humans sometimes, like when they're in trouble for no reason. They just out of nowhere help humans out.
Man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to this website.
Do they recognize, like, this person's intelligence? Like, do they think, like, humans, they can communicate with us? Is that why they're cool with us?
I'm not sure exactly.
Oh, what just happened? God.
There does seem to be something where like intelligent creatures tend to kind of recognize other intelligent creatures, I think.
I'm going to try this one. Okay. Dolphins deliberately get high on pufferfish nerve toxins by carefully chewing and passing them around.
I've definitely talked about this. I don't know if it was on the show.
Dolphins are thought of as one of the most intelligent species in the animal kingdom, and experts believe they have put their ingenuity to use in pursuit of getting high. In extraordinary scenes filmed for a new documentary, young dolphins were seen carefully manipulating a certain kind of pufferfish, which, if provoked, releases a nerve toxin. Though large doses of the toxin can be deadly in small amounts, it is known to produce a narcotic effect, and the dolphins appeared to have worked out how to make the fish release just the right amount, carefully chewing on the puffer and passing it between one another. Puff, puff, give, I guess. The marine mammals then enter what seems to be a trance-like state. The behavior was captured on camera by the makers of Dolphins Spy in the Pod, a series produced for BBC One by the award-winning wildlife documentarian producer John Downer. So yeah, I just thought it was funny that like dolphins are like smart enough to do this, and they like found out that hey, we can get high from this thing, but we got to be careful not to get it too, fucked up or whatever.
Jerry is fucked up.
Dolphins are smart.
Yeah, they're smart. I saw one like hilarious picture where one like had its nose kind of like stuffed in this pufferfish. It's all like, and the pufferfish was like. I was like, yeah, he's not happy.
I wonder if like monkeys or chimps get high too. It seems like
I've definitely heard stories of like drunk monkeys.
Oh, okay. I've heard of like cats love catnip, so
yeah, it's like heroin to them or something.
Yeah,
it's like they get all messed up.
Yep.
Hey, you know how they have those places where people can swim with dolphins?
Oh yeah.
Have you guys heard that like dolphins are like kind of notorious for like trying to rape people?
I've heard that. Yeah, they'll push up against people. And stuff.
I've heard that. That's a bad story. I got swallowed by a whale and then raped by a dolphin.
The sea is not the place for me.
I was back in there the next day.
Looking for that dolphin.
All right, AJ, I'll send it back to you.
All right. Man who fathered 94 children and 39 wives dies in India. A man thought to have been the head of the world's largest family with 39 wives and 94 children, according to Reuters, has died in northeast India, according to officials. Ziona Chana, 76 years old, the head of the local Christian sect that allows polygamy, died on Sunday, the chief minister of the state of Mizoram in the northeast of the country announced on Twitter. Chana lived with his family in a vast four-story pink structure with around 100 rooms in Batong, a remote village that became a tourist attraction, said Zoram Thonga, the chief minister who goes by one name on Monday. According to Reuters, the sect named Chana was founded by Chana's grandfather in 1942 and counts hundreds of families as members. Chana married his first wife when he was 17 and claimed he once married 10 wives in a single year. While illegal, polygamy is practiced in some communities in India. The wives shared a dormitory near his private bedroom, and locals had told Reuters that he liked to have 7 or 8 of them by his side at all times. Despite his family's huge size, Chana told Reuters in a 2011 interview that he wanted to grow it even bigger. "I'm ready to expand my family and willing to go to any extent to marry," he said. "I have so many to care for and look after, and I consider myself a lucky man." The BBC reported that with a total of 167 members, the clan was named the world's largest family by Ripley's Believe It or Not, although this depends on whether you count the grandchildren, of whom Chana has 33. Winston Blackmore, the head of a polygamous Mormon sect in Canada, by contrast, has 150 children with 27 wives, so 178 people in total. I mean, God.
Yeah.
He's trying to invade a country? Like...
Man, AJ, this makes me think you should move to India and become a polygamist.
Yeah, I don't think I can afford a 100-bedroom house. That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's like somehow you're filthy rich and, like...
Because he was a religious leader, you know? It just shows how, like, messy that is.
You can even, like, bear to be in that situation.
Man, I saw this news piece once on this Mormon family. And, like... The guy, I don't remember how many wives he had, but they said they figured like all together he had like 75 kids. They wouldn't name this guy, but they said he had like a job where he's making lots of money, like maybe like a CEO of a company or something. And the other thing is a lot of his wives were like nurses, so like they were making like nurse money. And so like they had like, you know, probably millions of dollars all together. But just, yeah, we're pumping out kids, man. That just seems crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point of having that many? You can't, like, how do you spend time with them all?
And, like, the women, like,
yeah.
it surprises me that they want that lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, they have the freedom. They have their nurses.
I mean, yeah, I guess you don't have to deal with, like, a retard all the time. You got some money. You got some other girls around. I don't know.
I mean, is that what you want? I don't know.
I don't know. Can you imagine 75 women on their period at the same time?
Mm-hmm. I can't handle one.
I bet he takes like a 4-day vacation every month.
Probably.
It's like, I gotta go to Bermuda. I'll see you. I'll see you.
I mean, when you have that many people on, I mean, you know they're on the same side too. Like, it's one of you against 75 of them. You can't win any arguments. You can't do anything. That's it. Game over. Yeah.
You know, it's one funny thing in The Expanse that I don't think they, at least on the show, maybe in the books, they explain it better, but like apparently like Mormonism like became like a bigger religion or something. Okay. And like there's this whole storyline where like the Mormons are trying to make it to this like planet they scoped out like that's like, you know, light years away.
Okay.
And so, like, their plan is they're having this, like, gigantic, like, self-sustaining spaceship built so that, like, they can take this trip to this place that they think might have life on it so they can, you know, spread the good word to other places in the to this other place or whatever. And so they're making this, like, spaceship that can, like, you know, basically support like generations of life because this trip will take like 100 and some odd years or whatever. But then like storyline wise, like eventually like the Belters like end up using this huge ship for like their own purposes. But yeah, I just thought it was funny that like in this future, like I guess Mormonism took off or something.
Yeah, that is surprising. And you don't really think of Mormonism as like this huge like. Multinational. But they are in Mexico, Mormons.
Yeah, wasn't like Mitt Romney's father or something had a Mexico
Grandfather,
connection?
I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, there's like Mormon towns in Mexico. Like they have their own like little communities. I don't know what. I guess like they can get away with certain things that are illegal in the U.S. like polygamy and other things.
Well, and God, the same. I don't know why. Like I had to take this like bullshit like class in community college, and like
We all did.
yeah, and like they showed this whole documentary about Mormonism, and like part of it was that story I was telling you, and then another was about this guy that they actually eventually arrested because he was like marrying like underage kids and like having sex with them, and like eventually they arrested this creep. But like that's apparently something that goes on in like some of these Mormon groups.
Well, sometimes they get in their like little compounds and like they don't really communicate with the outside world.
That's what this was.
Yeah, all religions are like insulated from like real scrutiny, And, I mean, that's just one of the beefs I have with religion. It did remind me of that Sentinelese, that North Central Island story where that missionary tried to go there. He was trying to spread the word.
Oh yeah, and they like killed him.
They shot him with arrows.
Oh, that was the Indian.
Yeah, I think they're more black looking, but it's by India.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're like one of the last untouched tribes or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, so like the irony is like if this guy lands there, he thinks he's saving them with the word of God, but he was about to give them a bunch of diseases, like and kill them. Gee, the logic in people's minds. But yeah. Oh, I don't know why this came up. Oh, because of the underage thing. Did you know that Jafar and Jasmine in Aladdin? Jasmine was 15. Jafar was like a middle-aged man.
I think I did hear that at one time, and I forgot about it till you just mentioned it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea that Jasmine was just 15 in that movie.
Yeah.
I always thought Princess Jasmine was hot and stuff.
I mean, I don't think they mention her age in that movie.
Yeah, they don't
right?
mention it. No.
So this must be like the story of like Aladdin, like.
Yeah. I was like, Jafar's a creep then, man.
But really, like, that's the thing about, like, most these fairy tales that Disney movies are based on. It's like most of them do have, like, dark aspects
John
to them.
Smith and Pocahontas.
And they just kind of pave over that and, like, Disney-fy them. To great effect. A lot of those Disney movies are great, but yeah.
Thought that was funny.
I lost track. Whose story is it now?
It's me, man, but I'm pretty much done.
We're getting close to an hour. You guys want to do a couple cards?
Yeah, we can try it.
See if I can find some good ones here. What makes you feel confident?
I don't know. Just not giving a shit about anything.
Like when you have one of those days where you just don't fucking care.
Yeah. Like when you can roll out of the house in like tank top and underwear and just be like, that's a confident motherfucker. I like a man with confidence.
Like, this is a hard question for me because I don't think I'm ever that confident of a person.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd like to know what the answer to this question is.
What would make me confident? I think superpowers would make me confident.
When I get my relatives in a confined space and fart for 30 seconds.
Do you think booze make you confident?
Yeah.
I mean, it
False
definitely
confidence.
raises that a little bit. I mean, because you put your shields down a little bit.
What would be the worst ingredients to fill a burrito with? Turds. I mean, like vegetables.
Tomatoes and tobacco. Man, I had some alcohol that had strong tobacco taste in it.
Ugh.
It was nasty.
Why?
You know how when they do like the wine tasting?
Yeah,
I was
why
like,
would they do that?
I was tasting, I was like, this tastes awful. I was like, what the fuck is that? And someone was like, it has tobacco undertones. I was like, tobacco. It's like drinking a spittoon.
That's what I was saying. You're accidentally drinking some spittoon instead of what you're
Salty spittoon.
instead of what you're supposed to be drinking.
Man, I still like. I drink to get drunk. Like, I don't know why else anybody would drink.
I mean, I've had some wines that I like, but there's some nasty fucking wines out there.
Beers, I've never had anything that tasted good to me.
I just start buying like vodka and rum, and I'll take a couple shots, and it'll be loose, you know.
Where is your favorite place in the world?
I mean, if I was going to pick one place, I'd go back to my old hometown.
Yeah, me too. That's kind of a boring answer, but that's probably the case.
I mean, I know the mountains and the roads and the forest, and it's all nostalgia and amazing. Also, like, there's wilderness here, but like, if you go in the wilderness out there, you can be by yourself. You go to the wilderness here, it's like a bunch of
hikers and stuff.
Yeah, surrounded by a bunch of hipsters still wearing masks out in the fucking country, and like, fuck off, hipsters.
All right.
Offended our one fan. He's like, well, I'm done.
Yeah, I picture like there's this guy, walking up a nature trail, listening to our podcast, loving it. He's got his mask on, and he's like, well, fuck these guys.
Well, if that's how you feel.
I was hooked with the bigger blacks, darker blacks, deeper blacks.
The deepest blacks.
The deepest blacks.
The anus blowing had me.
And then they threw it all away.
If you found a treasure chest that would grant you all the knowledge in the universe, but the price would be complete and total blindness, would you open the chest? Why or why not?
Yes.
Well, you know exactly where everything was and exactly what it looked like.
Yeah. Now that you're blind, but you have all the knowledge, so it's in your brain. You know where everything is.
But then, like, if you know everything, then like, even to a greater extent, what's the fucking point?
Yeah. I could be blind.
Like, I already struggle with like, what's the point? If I know everything, then.
I mean, but is all that knowledge going to bring you any sort of happiness if you're blind?
But I mean, are you really blind at that point? Because you have you're pretty much omnipotent, right? Like you can see and know everything. Well, you can't see through your eyes, but you know, right?
Well, you know everything, but you would just be visualizing things in your head still. It wouldn't be like you're seeing.
Yeah, that's true. I'd be okay with that.
I don't think I'd do it.
I don't know. I don't like being ignorant in life, but knowing everything and not having any ignorance to conquer, it just feels like that's like Dr. Manhattan. You're just like, there's no point, man.
Also, like, I think there's like a lot of knowledge that I don't want to know.
That's probably true.
Like, I don't know why the guy that likes to swim in sewage tanks likes to swim in sewage tanks.
You don't want to know what the neighbor with titties down to her knees looks like naked.
Yeah, we were just talking about that today. That because in the trailer court there used to be this woman we called the pendulum lady because she wouldn't wear a bra, and like you could definitely like when she they just side to side, man, low hangers.
Yeah. And we made it to adulthood without like scratching our eyes out on rocks.
Man,
you see some weird shit in a trailer court, man.
God, I know. I've talked to you about this. Is like, if the time frame was a little bit different, and like when we were kids, maybe like reality TV became a thing. Like if we could have just put a camera in that trailer court and filmed, like we could have had.
It would have been a solid documentary.
Oh man, we would have had the highest rated reality show because we had some people in this neighborhood that were crazy motherfuckers, man. I mean, just characters.
Like it was tough. Like maybe not when I was a kid, but like as you start getting older, like you go outside and it'd just be like those videos you see where something dies on the ocean and like all these crabs come out and fucking start consuming it. And it's just like they come out of the woodwork, man. Like, where the fuck these assholes come from?
You guys have like crackheads and stuff, or?
I mean, there probably were people who did. Well, I definitely know a few that did marijuana and stuff, but I'm sure it was around. Actually, after we were left, didn't our landlord get in some like cocaine like standoff with the police or something?
I never got the full story. He's in prison. He went to prison for something. Not exactly sure what it was, but he's in prison.
I know Rosencrantz was growing weed under his.
Oh yeah, that guy was a huge pothead. I mean, there was definitely like some crazies there that you wondered like if they were just crazy or if they had drug issues.
Yeah.
But you, as a kid, you don't really know. You're just like, oh, this guy's out there.
Yeah, probably if I went back and saw that today, like I'd be like completely horrified. But it's amazing, like what you're not in tune with as a child. You're just like, oh, it's Tuesday.
And actually, the pendulum lady's husband, like he said he used to be like a heroin addict, and it like fucked him up. So like when he was talking, like every bit, like he'd talk and then he'd have to go like hip, like he'd make like this weird like hip noise, and like because like the heroin, like I don't know, fucked up his brain or something.
Yeah.
And he had this weird like speech impediment from it. Well, on that fun,
I mean, I kind of wish now that I remembered more about it. Like maybe I should like meditate on this because I think I feel like I forgot like a lot of stuff.
oh, like neighborhood stuff.
Yeah.
When you guys talked about the guy having a shootout with the cops, that reminded me of a story my mom told me. So she worked at a Walgreens in like the suburbs in Houston, like, you know, Cypress.
Okay.
And there was a pimp and two hoes that had a shootout with the cops behind her Walgreens.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I went to a Waffle House down there, and like I was talking to one of the line cooks or whatever, and they took a magnet off the fridge, and there's a bullet hole under it. But yeah, there's crazy shit in the cities, man.
Yeah.
I actually like. I did one season of tax work, you know, over here in Portland, and like one of the offices, it wasn't like my regular office, but I had to go there periodically when they needed fill-ins and stuff. And apparently, like a year or two ago, they said there was like some sort of like shooting in the parking lot there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was like, well, that's nice to know.
And when I was doing Uber, I talked to this one tax lady, and she said this homeless guy would come in every year with like these ledger books. And basically, like, every time someone gave him $1 or a dime or whatever, he'd write it down. And he'd bring it into her every year. And she said it's like 30, 40K, something crazy. But she'd just be like, you know, you can't file this or whatever.
Right.
So he was still trying to file taxes?
He'd come in every year and try to file it still.
Dang. I mean, he seems like a good citizen.
It's just like, there's just some weird behaviors out there.
That would be pretty fucked up to tax the homeless.
Yeah, that would be messed up.
All right. Well, I think now we're finally ready to wrap this bad boy up. Anybody listening, thank you very much. If you will, you know, share our podcast and our clips with people you know. Get out the good word. Give us likes, comments. Let us, you know who you are, and if you have any questions you'd like us to talk about. What else? Oh, write a positive review on your podcast service of choice. All that good stuff. And why not, just for the hell of it, follow us on Twitter. Guys, where can people find you on the Twitter?
At a name for this too, and that's the number 2.
At Unsolicited SUG.
And you can find me at Zach Jones Live, ZachJonesLive. And that's going to do it for all of our poppycock and shenanigans this week. Please, please, please tune in again next week. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Have a good one.